Everything that has ever existed began in the unseen. Every empire, every invention, every movement that reshaped the world was born not in the hands, but in the mind. Before the wheel rolled, before the airplane soared, before a man ever walked on the moon, someone imagined it. And that is the secret no one teaches us. You are not limited by what is real. You are limited only by what you can imagine. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the blueprint of destiny. It is the workshop of creation, the invisible drafting table where your future is drawn before the world ever sees it. But most people never use it consciously. They spend their imagination on worry, not on wonder, on fear, not on faith. They build castles of catastrophe in their mind, and then wonder why their life looks like ruins. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." He didn't say whatever the world approves or circumstances allow. He said whatever the mind can conceive. Meaning, everything begins inside you. The mind is the soil, imagination is the seed, and belief is the water that brings it to life. If your imagination is starved, your destiny will be too. Think of it, every great achievement began as a picture someone refused to let die. Edison saw light long before the filament existed. The Wright brothers saw flight long before physics agreed. Martin Luther King Jr. dreamed of equality when the world said it was impossible. These weren't fantasies. They were blueprints for a new reality. And the same power that fueled them is alive in you. The same divine engine that designed universes is waiting behind your forehead, ready to build worlds through your thoughts. But you must learn to direct it, as imagination can either be a master creator or a merciless destroyer. If you use it unconsciously, it will build your fears into fortresses. It will turn small doubts into massive walls that keep you trapped. But if you use it intentionally, it becomes your greatest ally, the bridge between what is and what can be. The world you see around you is nothing but a collection of realized imagination. Everything man-made, from cities to skyscrapers to symphonies, existed first as a thought. Someone saw it so clearly in their mind that reality eventually bent to match it. Your life works the same way. Every decision, every relationship, every success or failure began as a thought image, something your imagination accepted as true. So ask yourself, what blueprints have you been drawing? Because your imagination never stops building. If you spend your days picturing failure, rejection, or lack, your mind treats those images as instructions. It begins to sculpt your reality to match. The brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. It obeys repetition and emotion. That's why athletes visualize success before competing. They see the race, the movement, the finish line. Their bodies begin to respond as if it's already happened. That's not superstition, that's science. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through repeated thought. But Hill discovered the principle long before the science caught up. He called it autosuggestion. Whatever you continually impress upon your mind, in words, pictures, or emotions, the subconscious accepts as truth. And once it accepts it, it begins to move heaven and earth to make it real. Your imagination sends the order. Your belief signs the approval. Your discipline delivers the result. But here's where most people fail. They imagine once and then abandon the vision at the first sign of resistance. They treat their dreams like wishes instead of commands. The universe doesn't respond to weak intentions. It answers persistence, unwavering, discipline that refuses to take no as final. Imagination gives you the vision. Belief gives you the power. Discipline makes it real. You must see it until you believe it. You must believe it until you become it. You must become it until the world has no choice but to see it too. So close your eyes. Picture the life that calls to you, the one that exists beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond approval. See it in detail. See where you live. See how you move. See what peace feels like. See the confidence in your walk, the clarity in your voice, the purpose in your eyes. Hold that picture. Don't just imagine it. Feel it. Because imagination without emotion is like a map without a destination. The feeling is the electricity that turns image into instruction. It tells your subconscious, this is real, this is who I am now. And once your subconscious accepts that new identity, it begins working day and night to bring it into form. You'll find yourself meeting people, finding ideas, attracting moments that match the picture you've been carrying. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. But this power works both ways. If you constantly imagine failure, you'll create it. If you imagine rejection, you'll attract it. If you picture yourself as unworthy, your mind will rearrange your reality to prove it true. That's why mastering imagination isn't just about dreaming, it's about discipline. You must guard your mental workshop like sacred ground. Don't let fear draft your blueprints. Don't let others design your destiny, because if you don't design your own life, someone else will use your imagination to build theirs. Every time you complain, criticize, or compare, you hand your creative power to the outside world. Every time you choose worry over vision, you feed the wrong blueprint. You must decide, every day, who is drawing the plans for your future, your faith or your fear. Faith imagines possibility. Fear imagines problems, and the one you feed will shape your fate. You can't build castles of success on foundations of doubt. You can't imagine greatness and then expect mediocrity to follow. Your world will always mirror the pictures you hold most vividly inside. So become intentional with your imagination. Turn it from daydreaming into destiny design. Each morning, picture your goals as already done. Feel the gratitude of having achieved them. Speak them aloud with conviction. Let your emotions match your vision, because when belief and emotion unite, the mind obeys. It's not fantasy, it's formula. Everything that exists in your external life is just a delayed reflection of what you've imagined internally. When Hill wrote about faith, desire, and imagination, he wasn't writing philosophy, he was describing physics of the mind. He knew that your thoughts are not static, they are energy. They move, vibrate, and magnetize matching experiences. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as possible. So dream boldly, not with hope, with certainty. The same power that raised the great sleeps inside you, waiting to be summoned. You were not given imagination to escape reality. You were given it to create reality. You are the architect. The mind is the blueprint, and the world will always, inevitably, mirror your design. Belief is the engine that turns imagination into reality. Without it, your mental pictures are just paintings on a wall, beautiful but meaningless. Faith is not blind. It is the deliberate refusal to allow doubt to corrupt the visions you've planted in your mind. It is the command you give to yourself every morning. I will not accept limits that others place on me. I will not shrink from what I am capable of creating. Every invention, every empire, every fortune began with a belief that it could be done. Not once, not half-heartedly, but with unshakable conviction. And that belief is what transformed a thought into a blueprint and the blueprint into a life. But belief alone is fragile without clarity. Clarity is the lighthouse in the storm of the mind. Most people wander aimlessly because their vision is fogged, their direction unclear. They imagine hope timidly, and then wonder why life delivers only mediocrity. Clarity demands that you define your goal not as a wish, but as a certainty. Not as I want this, but as I am becoming this. Every detail must exist in your imagination, the environment, the feelings, the energy, the rhythm of your days. The clearer the image, the faster your mind begins to obey it. Napoleon Hill, a clear vision backed by definite plans gives you a certainty of success. Clarity aligns thought with action. It eliminates hesitation, confusion, and the distraction of possibilities that do not serve your destiny. Vision is the next pillar. Imagination gives you the blueprint, belief gives you the power, clarity gives you direction. Vision is the journey itself. Vision is the map of your future life drawn in detail, alive in your mind. It is the narrative that your soul tells itself while the world sleeps. To see your vision vividly is not enough. You must live it in your imagination every day. You must rehearse it, breathe it, speak it, and embody it until the lines between the imagined and the real begin to blur. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is vividly pictured and what is real. It obeys, replicates, and manifests. Purpose is the heartbeat of vision. Without it, a vision is a ship without wind. Without purpose, even the most vivid images fade. Purpose infuses your imagination with fire. It fuels your belief. It sharpens your clarity and anchors your discipline. Your purpose must be bigger than comfort. It must scare you a little. It must challenge the familiar version of yourself that wants to settle. Purpose is the force that propels the mind into consistent action, day after day, when no one else believes, when no one applauds, when no one is watching. Discipline is the muscle that sustains imagination. Imagination without discipline is like a river without banks, directionless, wasted, diluted. Discipline turns your mental rehearsals into daily. It ensures that your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned with your highest vision. Each morning, when you wake, discipline is the decision to act on the blueprint you've imagined. Each evening, It is the reflection that refines and sharpens the image in your mind. Discipline bridges imagination and manifestation. Napoleon Hill often emphasized the power of autosuggestion, repeated affirmations combined with feeling, because repetition disciplines the subconscious. Every thought you impress upon your mind repeatedly begins to guide your decisions, your reactions, your destiny. Your imagination is alive. It is constantly absorbing, processing, creating. If you neglect it, it will adopt the pictures of fear, doubt, and distraction from the world around you. But if you deliberately feed it images of triumph, strength, and purpose, it will build them into reality with relentless precision. The mind's eye must be trained to see opportunity where others see failure. It must be taught to envision solutions before problems arrive. It must hold the image of the life you desire so vividly that the world cannot ignore it. This is the difference between those who settle and those who rise, between the ordinary and the extraordinary, between the remembered and the remembered for generations. Every setback you face is not a signal to stop. It is a test of the clarity, belief, and discipline you have cultivated in your imagination. Every criticism, every failure, every no is a mirror reflecting how strongly you've committed to your vision. You cannot control the world. You cannot force circumstances to align with your desires, but you can control your imagination, and when your inner world is disciplined, clear, and powered by belief, the outer world must obey. Do not underestimate the creative force of a focused mind. A thought imagined with emotion, sustained by discipline, and repeated with belief, becomes inevitable. It pulls the unseen forces of life toward it, rearranges circumstances, and opens doors that logic cannot explain. The mind of a man who has mastered imagination is a force field of destiny. It does not wait. It attracts, commands, it manifests, and every small act of visualization, affirmation, and focused action compounds into the architecture of a life most people only dream of. But imagination is not only for material success. It creates character, relationships, peace, resilience, and joy. A man who imagines himself kind, confident, and calm begins to inhabit that reality, and the world responds in kind. A man who imagines courage in the face of adversity discovers it in moments he never thought he could. This is the silent revolution that Napoleon Hill spoke of, the mastery of the unseen forces within. The knowledge that your imagination is not play, it is power, not illusion, it is instruction, not fantasy, it is the blueprint of destiny itself. So every day, eat it with greatness. Fill your mind with mental pictures of victory, service, abundance, and meaning. Hold them until your emotions believe them as reality. Speak them until your words align with your vision. Act until your life becomes the mirror of your imagination. Because the world you see is nothing but a reflection of the world you have pictured. The life you live is merely the manifestation of what you have consistently imagined, believed, and disciplined into being. You are not small. You are not a product of circumstance. You are the sum of your mental creations. And if you refuse to accept limitation, if you refuse to surrender to fear, if you refuse to abandon your imagination to distraction or doubt, then your destiny is already being written, not in the hands of others, but in the theater of your own mind. There comes a moment when imagination stops being a dream and begins to demand reality. It is the moment you refuse to let your mind be small, the moment you decide that your inner vision is more powerful than the world's doubt. The moment you see yourself not as you are, but as you were always meant to be, everything begins to shift. Doors appear where walls once stood. Opportunities arrive where obstacles blocked the path. People, places, circumstances, all begin to align with the image you have nurtured in your mind. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Not maybe, not if luck allows. Achieve, absolute, inevitable. That is the law of creation. That is the power you hold within. Your imagination is the architect. Your belief is the builder. Your discipline is the labor. And the world around you is the construction site waiting for your blueprint to manifest. But understand this, the enemy will never stop trying to convince you that your vision is impossible. Fear will knock. Doubt will whisper. The voices of those who never dared to dream will grow loud. And every time they speak, you must remember, those voices are not reality. They are projections of other people's limitations. You cannot borrow the world's opinion and expect it to design your destiny. You must rely on the certainty in your own mind, the vividness of your imagination, and the unwavering fire of your belief. When resistance rises, and it will, imagine it shrinking before your focus. When fear appears, and it will, Picture it dissolving beneath the weight of your clarity. When doubt whispers, "Not yet," respond with the command, "It is now. It is mine. I am the creator of this life." This is the battlefield of destiny. Not in the streets, not in the office, not in the world outside, but in the unseen theater inside your skull. And if you win it, nothing else can stop you. Faith fuels imagination. It is the energy that bridges the gap between thought and form. Faith does not wait for evidence. It does not hesitate. It acts as if the vision is already reality. This is why the world's greatest creators, leaders, and visionaries move before proof appears, because they've already seen it done. Clarity is the compass that guides imagination. Without it, your visions are scattered, dreams dilute, and the mind drifts like a ship in fog. But when every image is precise, every detail alive, every emotion real, the subconscious begins to rearrange the world to match it. Discipline is the bridge from imagination to action. It ensures that your mental rehearsals are reflected in your daily choices, your routines, your habits. Discipline is not a punishment. It's the respect you give to the blueprint of your own life. Purpose is the fire that animates the machine. Purpose gives weight to your thoughts, intensity to your actions, and persistence to your faith. A vision without purpose drifts. Purpose without imagination is shallow. Together, they are unstoppable. And when all these forces align, imagination, belief, clarity, purpose, and discipline, the life you see in your mind begins to carve itself into the reality of your day. It bends circumstances, attracts allies, and draws success toward you with irresistible force. But here is the ultimate truth. Nothing external is required. No permission, no validation, no luck. Everything you seek already exists inside the mind of a person willing to imagine it with relentless certainty. You are that person. You always were. Your imagination is not a luxury. It is a weapon. It is not play. It is power. It is not optional. It is the blueprint of every victory you will ever claim. See it, believe it, feel it, speak it, act it, guard it with every ounce of your focus. Nurture it like life itself. And when the world asks, "How did you do it?" you will smile silently, knowing the answer has always been simple. You imagined it into existence. You believed it without hesitation. You acted with discipline and purpose. Nothing in the world could ever undo it. So rise now. Rise into the life you have always pictured. Rise into the version of yourself who knows no limits. Rise into the power of imagination made real. The world may resist. Circumstances may challenge. People may doubt, but they cannot touch the life you build within. They cannot erase the blueprint you have drawn. They cannot silence the mind that has decided to create without apology, without fear, and without compromise. The empire begins in the invisible. The masterpiece begins on the canvas of your imagination. The destiny that calls you forward waits for no one. And when you stand in full command of your imagination, aligned with belief, fueled by purpose, disciplined in action, and illuminated by clarity, the world itself bends to meet the life you have created. You are not dreaming. You are designing. You are not hoping. You are commanding. You are not waiting. You are becoming. And that is the ultimate victory. Not wealth, not fame, not comfort. The ultimate victory is mastery over your mind. The ultimate victory is the ability to imagine your destiny, believe in it, act on it, and watch it unfold as if the universe itself conspires in your favor. That is power. That is freedom. That is the life that begins the moment you stop letting the world dictate the limits of your imagination and start creating without compromise. Your imagination is the blueprint. Your life is the construction. Your destiny is waiting, vivid, unstoppable, inevitable. And it begins now.